Once we prayed for a better day, hoping luck would come our way. Once it was only a dream, far from a privileged life. Every minute, every hour.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and for this episode I am absolutely delighted to be joined again by Mette Juul, who I spoke to in September 2023. She is a Danish jazz singer and songwriter, and I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. I'm really looking forward to it. She's got a new album out called Thank You and Other Stories. What you're listening to now is Privileged Life, one of the 10 original songs that Mette has written for this album. I hope you enjoy listening to my conversation with Mette Juul. Well, welcome again to Harmonious World. It's a pleasure to have you for the second time, Mette.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So you have Thank You and Other Stories, which is coming out in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really lovely album.
Thank you so much.
When did you record this?
Well, it was actually recorded, the first recording session we had one day, actually a couple of weeks before Celeste was released. So it's been quite two intense years, quite intense years. Yeah. And then some of the songs I recorded here in my apartment myself. And then the last part was recorded in January last year.
Right. And you've got some great people on it, haven't you? So Peter Rosendahl plays piano, Fender Rhodes and trombone, not all at the same time, presumably.
No, not at the same time.
No. And then Lars Danielsen, who's on cello and double bass, melodica and lots of other things.
Mm.
And I know the percussion that you've got.
Yeah.
Xavier de Sandra Navarre, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's right. I actually never met him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the joys of modern technology, is that you can actually be creative with people all around the world and you don't need to meet them.
I mean, everything was recorded in the same room except from the percussion. And of course, the songs I recorded myself here in my humble home studio. I just recorded by myself, and then Lars Danielsen added and Peter added some lovely things to it.
Yeah, definitely. And they are really, really interesting songs. That they seem very personal. So it's called Thank You and Other Stories, but it does feel like a very personal reflection on your life. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It is from personal experiences, but also experiences of people I've known that made a great impression on me. And then I've tried to write it in a way so maybe other people can see themselves in the songs as well. And of course, some of the songs are also inspired by the world that surrounds us today. So it's kind of a combination of inspirations.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are responding to the awful things that are happening in the world and the way the world is changing through music, which I find fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we need to do as artists in general. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can't help it. I'm and many other artists are inspired by what happens around us, of course. Yeah,
absolutely. So at this point in the podcast, I would like to play an extract from Disturbance.
Yes,
I love that track. So, and the nice thing about this being my podcast is I get to choose which tracks I use. So I use my favorite.
Exactly.
was a crazy man on the other side of the street, shouting in a megaphone doomsday prophecies. From his windowsill he shouts, we've all been fooled, to the bikers passing by, the children walking home from school. Where does he come from? Who brought him here? Who thought it was a good idea? He's disturbing our peace on our quiet side of the street, reminding how different the human mind can be. How many people live like him? Where can they be? We try to dream they don't exist and disturb our peace.
So tell me about Disturbance. When did you write it and what's the topic of it?
Well, it's got different layers in a way. I was living in an apartment some years ago, and several times a week there was a seemingly crazy man on the other side of the street shouting in a megaphone out of his window. And sometimes I also met him on my way home, and he really scared me. Actually, he looked quite dangerous. I don't think he was, though, but he looked, very crazy. And then one day I was sitting at my desk booking concerts, actually, and then he began shouting out loud. And then the melody and the lyrics came, at least the first verse came at the same time. And I began thinking, what is he trying to tell us? And it was such an absurd experience to see how people were just passing by like nothing had happened. And he was just standing there. And I realized that I think it's the psychiatric system in Denmark that placed him there. So because of this experience and other experiences I've had in my life, I began to think, okay, how inclusive are we really towards these people? Do we listen to them? Is it him or is it us who are wrong?
That's really interesting, because when you think about, somebody who is being a bit, disturbing the peace and whatever, and actually what you tend to do is you tend to focus on the effect it's having on you,
Exactly.
rather than what they're actually saying and whether what they're saying is of something, of an importance that we should be listening to.
Yeah, and I'm in a way I'm still exploring this song. He was obviously a bit crazy, but did he get the help he needs, or did society fail helping him? Why did they place him just in the middle of a very quiet and nice part of the city?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And what he's shouting is, the world needs rules. And that might be true,
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm just painting a picture. With this song, it's kind of just a situation. It's just a story. I don't have any final conclusion or morals at all. I'm just trying to ask questions, really. Yeah, and then it moves me to think about how many people society haven't been able to help, both people with mental but also physical health issues. And it's just a fact. I mean, it's something that I don't know how it is in the UK, but it's something that we talk about once in a while here, but it's not something that I'm an expert in at all, and that's also why I'm not trying to moralize in any way. It's just a question, and how inclusive am I myself?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing about this album. It feels like you're just asking questions and you're
Yes.
just kind of putting ideas out there that
Mm.
we should all be thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, at least I would like to think about them. I might have all the right thoughts about how things should be, but how do I really, when it all comes down to it, how do I really live and how do I really react in certain situations? Um, yeah. And
Yeah.
how can I react?
Well, yeah, because in some ways the way you react to that guy shouting is your prerogative. It's your right to react however it moves you. But that doesn't stop you then going, well, why did I respond like that? And how else could I? So next time, could I, do something different?
Yeah, maybe I could vote for the politicians who give money to some of the places that really needs money, like the psychiatric system, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a global issue. How we are treating people who have, whether that's physical disabilities or mental health issues.
Yeah, it seems like we tend to prioritize profit over human well-being.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think everybody who is involved in the creative arts, we have a duty to point things out, I think sometimes.
Yeah, and at the same time, I don't want to in any way seem like I'm an expert because I'm not at all. I'm just observing.
Absolutely. And it is that
Yeah.
observation, isn't it? It's not coming up with an answer. That's not what we're here for. We're not here
No,
to find
no,
solutions.
no, because at the same time, I can speak for myself. I'm not in any way perfect or a saint or anything. I'm just wondering sometimes how we as humans have chosen to put our society together. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Thank you for that. And it does feel like this album, you've written tracks that explore those human issues. I think also I really like your version of the Bob Dylan "To Make You Feel My Love." It's
Thank you
beautiful.
so much because I was told after the vinyl, and you can see the vinyl here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful photo.
After everything was ready, uh, someone told me, "Do you really dare to make a recording of To Make You Feel My Love? Didn't you hear, the version by Bob Dylan and Adele?" And yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, I didn't think about it." I just needed to sing this song.
And I think cover versions when they're like that, because it's very much your version in your style in a very different way to both of those,
Yeah,
and probably the way other people have done it. And I
yeah.
think that's okay. My issue is always with cover versions is when they're trying to be exactly the same as as the original or whatever. That's my issue with cover versions.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah, you're not doing that at all. So
thank you.
fantastic. I'm going to point people to our previous conversation because in that we talked a little bit more about your background and things.
Mhm.
So, what does the future hold for you? What does the next few months hold musically?
Well, now I'm looking forward to releasing this album, and I'm trying to allow myself to kind of be in the moment and not look too much ahead. It's been 2 intense years with both the release of Celeste and now Thank You and Other Stories. I do have some ideas for songs here and there, and then I'm looking forward to the release concerts. Really, I'm playing
Right.
at the Danish Embassy in Berlin on the release day, and then I have some concerts ahead after that.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it? That's lovely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to play the album live, because the way I like to play concerts isn't, I mean, I don't want to play a copy of
No.
the album. It's going to be an interpretation
Yeah.
of the album. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually that's the best way, isn't it? To
Yeah.
make it fit for that moment. You know, you're in
Yeah.
Berlin, you're at the Danish embassy. It's going to be different to how it was when you're in your house doing your recording, you know.
Exactly. And yeah, so I'm going to give myself room to enjoy this release. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the connection to Copenhagen failed at the last minute. But one of the things I wanted to talk about as part of this interview with Mette is what she's saying is the inspiration, which is saying thank you to all the people who inspire all of us. And she wanted especially to thank the people who inspired her, and also for all of us to explore how we have an impact on each other. And that's effectively the main theme of the album. I think it's all about saying thank you, but also having something to say thank you for, and for being the thing that people want to say thank you for, being an inspiration and having an impact. So I'm sorry I lost the end of my interview with Mette. But please do have a listen to Thank You and Other Stories. It's a fabulous album.
We still have the chance. Let's face the music and dance.
What you're listening to is Mette Juul's version of Let's Face the Music and Dance from Thank You and Other Stories.
And then
thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World. Please do look on my blog for any album and live gig reviews.
And music and love and romance. Let's face the music and dance and dance and dance.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.